What's up, you beautiful? I was about to say something bad. Welcome back to the show. You're watching the Freedom Soapbox. I'm one of the hosts, Namdi, and you are?
I'm Ashley.
Okay. All right. We were out here in the backyard chilling, as always, and we're going to ramble about the news, the big deal happening out there in our nation, our country, United States of America. Well, that former officer, Derek Chauvin, behind the murder of George Floyd, was convicted. He was found guilty yesterday.
So he was.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, that's cool. I think it's great for him and his family. They got justice deserved in that respect. Like
The
on a
F-
personal
the
level,
Floyd
definitely.
Floyd family.
Yeah, the Floyd family. So it's great for the Floyd family. I just don't, because I feel like that, like most of the country at least is like rejoicing and they're like, yay, justice, and this is like change, the beginning of change, and it's all gonna be wonderful from here on out. But is that what that actually means? Because I kind of feel like it doesn't.
Here's what I have to say about it. I really think I'm. This is a huge step, but just one step in so many steps and things that we need to do in this country to finally give justice to the unheard, to all the millions of thousands of not if not millions of black and brown Americans that have been killed unjustly in this country. Our criminal justice system is in bad need of reform.
Yeah.
um it's unfortunate that it has to come to, we need to see things on camera in order to believe our fellow citizens. Okay, it's been captured on camera. This guy has been finally convicted, but there are so many cases that are unresolved. Matter of fact, even as we speak, there's the Dwayne Wright issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the same city. I don't know what it is with Minneapolis people. They're just bunch of racist people there.
Guess so.
What is it with
But
people, with these white cops thinking that they can just take lives
and it's fine,
and not have their day? Like these
right?
are your fellow human beings. You
Well,
know,
I don't think so. But anyway,
these people. I mean, law enforcement was is there to protect and serve. Injustice to a black and brown person is injustice to every one of us. We have the responsibility to speak up and speak out against what is very glaring, a glaring problem in our system that needs to be solved and not just be talked over it or putting out symbols, these empty
mm-hmm.
symbols that I see
Yeah,
on media all the time, like wearing Black Lives Matter shirt or painting it across the street. These are empty symbols. They're not going to solve the problem. If we really, really want to solve the problem, we have to start holding people accountable. And it's not just law enforcement. I
mm-hmm.
think law enforcement just happen to be, you know,
It's because they can carry on guns and have authority. So that kind of makes the situation worse. But obviously, it's not that's not the core of the problem.
exactly. Law enforcement just happen
It
to
just
be the
happens.
scapegoat. They're just a
Yeah,
part of a systemic racist fabric that we have in this country.
I
Where do
think the
you
damage done by law enforcement because of the racist society is, I mean, that's why it seems like that's the problem,
Yeah,
because their damage that they can do is insane. They can murder
they can
people
take
and
lives.
it's
Yeah,
okay. They don't
but
get in trouble,
right. The larger issue is that we as a
right?
nation need to do some soul searching. We need to
Uh-huh.
recognize and find empathy within us for one another, regardless of background, regardless of skin color or national origin. Listen, we're all human beings. It doesn't matter how we express ourselves or how we look. We're all the same people. The earlier we start, I mean, looking and finding compassion to mix with other people, the earlier we can start healing as a nation, and that will all reflect in our laws and our policies and how we treat each
Yeah.
other. We really got to start treating each other better. Empathy is a word that we can't oversay that word. Literally, it that's what it all comes down to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have to start seeing humanity in other people. The same way we love and care about dogs, we need to extend that same care towards other human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like with this country, we freak out when anything happens to a dog, but if that same thing
If it
happens
happens
to a
to a
human
human
being,
being,
next,
yeah, that's true. But
change the
it should.
channel.
Wow, you're right. Yeah.
I think that we're lost as a people. You know,
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, so political wise, that has to do with this. Isn't Biden trying to pass a bill or a new act? Do you know what is actually in that? Because I don't know everything about this.
so there are obviously it's a democratic uh, government in power. There's been proposals to criminal justice proposal. There's the George Floyd Act that I started hearing. I haven't read a lot about it, but the premise is to to bring some type of accountability to, police reform to law enforcement. You know, these when crime happens within the law enforcement parastatals, the perpetrators should be held accountable. They can't have immunity. And I think the
Mm-hmm.
George Floyd Act goes directly at that problem. But again, these are just band-aids on wounds. We need to find like actually address the root cause of systemic racial problems that we're having because there's economic problems, issues that lead right to the wealth gap and the fact that is
Mm-hmm.
the people who are largely affected by racism in this country turns out to be the poor are largely poor.
Yeah.
um, and I don't believe in equal outcomes. I however do believe in equal opportunity. I think that the playground should be fair. The government, like yesterday, should we need to start spending money and resources on underserved communities. Okay, so that's those are the larger issues in my book. Now, if we're just going to talk about racism in law enforcement, this Derek Chauvin guilty charge is progress, but is very small.
But what's going to happen to everyone else who was killed by the police from that point on?
You know,
It's been almost a year.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it just keeps happening.
Yeah,
It
it
keeps
keeps
happening,
happening.
and the cases in court are not getting solved, or there's a lot of immunity for the perpetrator, Breonna Taylor. I mean, all that
Yeah.
like what happened in the news, nothing's happening. Literally, I think they actually acquitted these guys, those police officers. It's insane, you know. I look, we need law enforcement, but we need law enforcement that serves the community, not puts a gun to their head and shoots them. No, that's not what law enforcement is there for. And law enforcement needs to be it needs to be diversified. There needs to be law enforcement without weapons that go to de-escalate issues. There needs to be like ways to de-escalate a scenario before it gets to the point of bringing the guns out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where are the
Yeah.
social services? Where are mental health um, crisis workers? We need stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm happy that this happened in terms of that he was found guilty. It would have been a disaster if
Oh,
he
I'm
was
sure it would.
if he was
Yeah.
acquitted. I don't know, like this country would have descended into
Lost
another
its.
chaos.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true. And I'm sure that's why this happened because I don't see justice happening for any of the other people that were shot last year or even this year
mhm.
or this week.
Yeah, it's like
Nothing is. else is happening. It's just this specific case. They gave the people what they wanted
Right.
because this
That's
was the biggest one.
I
Where
I also hope that it was not just a
just
bone,
let's just just throw them something so
so
they'll
they can
just
shut
be
up.
quiet. That's what I feel like it is. That's why I'm just like, it's great for his family, but what about everyone else?
It's also a very large country. I have to give it them the benefit of the doubt. Them, the government, the benefit of the doubt, considering that this is a large country. There's a federal arm and there's the state
Uh-huh.
arms. So we're talking about different states. Minneapolis as a state, there's a significant push towards, and I think that the environment there is ripe for change.
Okay.
Now there are certain states where the push or the battle is a lot tougher,
Right.
like in Georgia
Uh-huh.
or like in what was the Breonna Taylor state, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky is like a whole
It's
different
pretty
story
bad.
over there. It's pretty bad. Matter of fact, their congressman, I think Mitch McConnell is from there.
Oh.
He's like one of the worst ones. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So it's a tough battle. It's like when you're trying to bring all these different kinds of people with different backgrounds together to see things together. It's tough, um, but it's a fight that we cannot give up because it's holding on to the soul of this country. I imagine how further we could have gotten as a country economically
If we didn't have
if
this
we were all working together.
racism problems,
Do you know?
yeah.
Do you know how much waste in human capacity is happening in prisons and in jails?
Mm-hmm.
Look at all that ingenuity that could be put to work to build this country to what it's supposed to be. But instead of that, we're locking them up, we're killing them on the streets, and we're actively, through our systems, oppressing a whole generation of people, laden them with loans,
Mm-hmm.
debt, bad debt, not educating them on how to be investors, devaluing the dollar. It's insane. I think that we as a people can do better. And for us to do better, we have to look beyond short term gains in terms of like clickbaity things. The news, the media has to stop peddling negativity for clicks and for eyeballs. We have to start like it's time to make drastic change, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's our 2 cents in this issue. Kudos to the court system, the juries that presided over the case. It's a win.
Mm-hmm.
um Although I don't think that any one of those I think that the the case was
But
definitely an impartial case to begin with. It wasn't a
mm,
fair trial. If you were to look at it like legally, the country, the whole world was impacted by this case.
uh-huh.
So is it even possible to pick fair jury members?
I mean, you have people on both sides, so I mean, but yeah, you're right. Because if no
Keep
one's,
going there though. Like there are people on both sides regardless, right? Even
yeah,
when
regardless, you
even
have people, you know,
so you
in
mean
support.
that
So you would, I believe you should at least get like a good sample size of people who have like opinions on like all ends of the spectrum. So maybe that would be okay to have in this type of a case, because how can you have someone who is completely neutral coming in 100%? I don't think
it's
any
not
human
possible?
being in this country is totally neutral on this case. So I guess you just really have to have like a good size of everybody
Which I
to make it
imagine they
fair.
did. Which I imagine they did, right? They took their time in
I
selecting the jury.
I would assume they have to. This is like the most important case of the year. So yeah, they had to have been taking their sweet time on picking the perfect jury for this case. I'm sure. It's probably why it took so long.
And it was a unanimous guilty
Yeah,
verdict.
it's true. Or maybe they chose people who were all for one side and they where it was gonna happen like this no matter what.
No,
You
I
don't
like
think
to take.
so?
No, I'm
Because
just
I feel
playing
like
devil's
it would have
advocate
been
here.
crazy if it went the other way. So it had to, like, there's no other way. At this country has to have this.
I was just playing devil's advocate. The reality is that we, as a nation, as a people, we're slowly starting to see the humanity in ourselves. It and part of it is like we're more connected now. We talk more to each other online. We know more. We're more informed. We know more about other people than we used to know. So
Mm-hmm.
the jury that you're selecting um, is a, especially if you've done a good job at selection, is a reflection
The
of
society.
society. Yes, I really think
Yeah,
that
that's right.
everybody, any human being
Uh
that
huh.
watched that go down, there's something inside all of us
So
that
that jury,
cried.
there's okay, there's something that reflects a little bit of everyone here in that
Yeah,
jury, of course.
there's no
Okay.
one, there's no human being that watches that. I just something inside of you just like goes,
Yeah.
wow, like damn, this is so inhumane.
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
easier to handle when you don't watch it. But that video was viewed, probably one of the most viewed videos
Mm-hmm.
in the past year since May when it
Yeah.
happened. So you know, the jury made the right call, and this man deserves to serve time. He doesn't. He needs to be rehabbed. He doesn't need to be thrown behind bars because I don't think bars is rehabilitation for people who commit crime. I think that he needs to go through mental health evaluation and mental health rehabilitation.
I think the country wants revenge. I think the country wants something a bit more stern. Then let's just rehab the guy and maybe he'll come out nice. And he
I didn't
won't
say he
murder
would come out.
anymore.
I didn't say he would come out nice, but we will have a bucket for him, and we'll have an environment for him to be with others like him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget, there's a lot of people who are capable of committing just as much crime or even
Yeah,
worse
yeah,
that we live
of
among
course.
that lives next door to us. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
most people are capable of committing that level of crime. What makes us
Most
civilized?
people. Whoa. You
What
think most people are evil? Like that level?
It's a yin and yang. Every single one of us have it, and some people are. I look at ourselves as a spectrum and we oscillate between good and evil. It's in us, all of us. It's human
Mm,
nature. Now, some people index more towards evil than others, and some people index more towards good than others.
mm,
So, I think that in this case of this guy, this criminal murderer, Derek Chauvin, he indexes towards evil, and it's a mental health thing, and he can be rehabbed or not. And if he's not, he doesn't need to be with the rest of us. I I don't see things in a zero sum way. You
what
know,
does that mean?
I think that we can look beyond primitive way of judging things and judging the people. Back in the day, we used to call things for what they are. Like it was like black and white. Like if you're either, there was a lot of righteousness, a puritanity
Mm,
going on where it was if you did something wrong, off with your head. They just hung you or they cut your head off or um, or like back then, if you had an argument with someone, you guys can actually go out and duel to the fight. Like if you lose, you're gonna die. Oh, you know what I'm saying? That's how they resolve their conflicts. But I think that we're evolving as a people. We're understanding that there's a gray area. If I have an argument with you, we don't have to die because of that argument. We can sit down and talk about it. there can be some level of like arbitration going on where we reach a settlement where either party is happy with the outcome. So if that's the case, then we have to get to a point where in our judicial system and how we judge crimes and how we treat events that occur among us, we have to honor and take account of that gray area.
Mm-hmm.
That gray area um, instructs us to consider mental health rehab, consider the person's background, consider what may have led up to that situation, right?
I think you're talking more about like you want to change the world and just have a totally better system and but
So I'm
right
preaching
now,
utopia, huh?
yeah. Yeah, in a perfect world, yes, we have issues and we shouldn't be locking people up and beating them and putting people on death row or whatever we did in the past. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
we should be helping the people get better, but that's not gonna happen. Especially at this case, you can't just be like, okay, let's change the world, guys. Let's totally do a total. This is gonna be great for humanity. Just watch. Okay, we're gonna. No, I don't. Especially on this case, I don't think the sentencing is. I don't think it's possible because that would be another huge thing that everyone would get mad at too. Can you imagine? Oh, his sentence is that he has to have therapy for like 5 years.
No, I would never propose that. I would never support that. I was just making a general comment. This particular case, that man needs to serve. He needs to be locked up, solitary
He
confinement
needs to have life.
regularly.
Yeah, life. What do you do to murderers? They get life in prison, right? A
Then
life sentence. That's what he has to do.
now, now that we have satisfied our, our inner devil and revenge, now we can tap into the positive side. And in that positive guy
Mm-hmm.
is proffering a solution that includes mental health rehab, a chance to rejoin society, a chance to contribute positivity to the world and be held accountable to it. Like imagine if instead of you can if someone's convicted of a crime and the sentence is uh, 25 years to serve the state, instead of serving the state behind bars, I'll I'll, I'll offer mad community service. Like he's gonna go learn positive acts and he's gonna spend every day uh, performing positive acts under the supervision of armed men. You know what I'm saying? To make sure he does it because he could choose not to do it or run away or whatever. But under the supervision of armed men, they literally go from street to street just doing good stuff, doing good things. Or if they want to keep him controlled, they can keep him one area and make him do good things.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
I feel like they're
I
just
don't know if the
wasting behind
country's
bars.
ready. They are. No, like you're absolutely right. I just feel like I don't know if the country's ready for like you know forgiveness and
That's what I'm saying.
to make
I'm
things right.
I'm
And
challenging the country and the people watching
I think
this.
that'll
It's
happen a long time from now.
hey, it's time for us to evolve past this
Right.
animalistic behavior, this tit for tat thing.
Yeah, I get
You
that.
kill me, I kill you back. That's just so basic.
It's so basic.
For real, it's basic. Like, do you know? Think about your dollar bills, right?
Yeah.
Well, in investing, we understand that you want to put all your dollars to work. Put that dollar to work. You don't want to keep it in the bank account and just collecting dust and losing to inflation. Every dollar counts. Now think about human beings in that same. Every human being in this country is potential for this country, right? The more that we have, the better. What the hell are we doing wasting resources, wasting human beings? On the world stage, we're competing against countries like China, like India, that have over 1 billion people
Mm-hmm.
per country. The, I mean, the the competition is stacked in their favor if you think about it. I think that we're spending so much time wasting our human capacity, and it's allowing countries like China to catch up and probably are on pace to actually be the number one superpower economically and otherwise in the near future. We're taking a step back because we're so clouded. Our vision is so clouded by short-term goals and short-term wins.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we as a collective have to start thinking about for the people, not for me. We do a lot of this individual thing, me. Let me get
Yeah.
mines,
Yeah.
hustle for mines.
Right.
No, but if we really want to, if we want to succeed, we need to start banding together and
Mm-hmm.
understand that if there's a homeless guy on the street, that means we too are homeless. We too have decided that it's okay to see a fellow human being waste a human capacity, just wasted, so that we can. Because think about it, if you put that
Mm-hmm.
person, if you rehab that guy
Yeah.
and put him to work to help the country in whatever capacity that he's good at, that's a net positive for the country as a whole.
It is. You're right.
But no, we're not going to let that happen because our property value, blah, 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 short term goals.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to let that human capacity waste on the streets to drugs and all kinds of stuff. Meanwhile, we have a huge task to rebuild this country, to make this country resilient, to fight climate change. We have real, real issues that we can put everybody to work. Imagine if
Mm-hmm.
uh, they're using the inmates to cultivate farms, and I'm not just talking about like slave labor, but like put them to work to grow food for the country and pay them well. Maybe not pay them money directly, but make sure that they're living well, right? That they're clothed well, they're fed well, they're put in good homes, and they're also given an opportunity to rehab as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like we will hire people to teach them skills, teach them because a lot of people who commit crimes or find themselves um, trapped in the criminal justice system are victims of their environment. They're just victims
Right.
of like what I'm saying? Like poverty and economical problems. So we have a responsibility to not just let them waste, but rehab them and put them to work to serve the country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get that.
But we're not doing that. We're caught in this
Yeah, we're not.
web of revenge.
Or one group going, it's all mine. I
Yeah.
don't care what happens to the rest of you. I just need to make sure there's enough people working for me to sustain this.
Yeah, man. So I hope that we've brought you guys enough value, and I hope that this conversation will make you think and just go ahead and leave a comment and share your thoughts so that we can start a dialogue. Um, it was appreciate you tuning in. Once again, it's Namdi.
Ashley.
Thank you all for watching Freedom Soapbox, and until next episode, peace.